Students, this is Shweta Roy. This video is for Chapter 4, Part 1, Civics, The Making of Law. In this video, we are going to discuss about law making and ordinary bills. Now, when we talk about the ancient India, there were many overlapping local laws. Now, different communities were enjoying different degrees of autonomy in administering these laws. But when the Britishers came, when there were during the British rule, this system slowly began to change. And because of this, some scholars believe that it were the British colonialists who introduced the rule of law in India. And some historians do not agree with this view. They refute some of the claims on following grounds. According to them, the British law was arbitrary. For example, the Sedition Act of 1870 laid down that any person protesting or criticizing the British government could be arrested without appropriate trial. The Indian nationalists played an important role in the development of legal sphere in British India. They began to protest and criticize the arbitrary law of Britishers. By the end of 19th century, Indian legal professionals also began to emerge, and Indian judges also began to play a greater role in decision making. Now, after independence, the Constitution serves as the foundation on which the members of Parliament make laws for the country, and we will study that how the laws came into existence. Now, as you all know, our Parliament makes laws for the whole country, and Parliament is the supreme law making body in the country. Also, it has the power to legislate on all subjects that are under jurisdiction of the central government. Also, Parliament can enact new laws or change the existing ones. And for that, a proposal should be kept, and the proposal of a law is called a bill. Now, there are two types of bills: ordinary bills and money bills. Now, the bills other than money bills are called ordinary bills, and these bills can be introduced in any house of the parliament. They can be introduced by either a minister of the government or any other private member of the house. Now, every ordinary bill that is introduced has to go through 3 readings in each house. So, we will discuss about those 3 readings. So, during first reading is an introductory stage, and in this stage the concerned minister or a private member asks for the permission of the house to introduce the bill, and there will be no debate at this stage. Now, copies of the bill are given to the members. All the member will get the copies of the bill. The minister or any member who introduces the bill gives a general speech explaining the purpose of the bill. So here you can see it is an introductory stage. Here the introduction of the bill is given. Now, during second stage, first of all, a general discussion is held. Now, there will be clause by clause discussion. Now, the member who is supporting the bill, they will explain why the bill is important and necessary. And the members who oppose it, they will criticize the bill. The members can also suggest the changes which needs to be made in the bill, and some of the changes will be accepted by the house. They can be accepted by the house. So here you can see in first reading, introduction is given, copies of the bill given to the members, and members will read that, and a normal small speech will be there with the explanation of the purpose of the bill. And in second reading, you see that there will be discussion. This is the discussion stage, and after in this there will be a debate. In this the member who is supporting, they will give their reasons, and who is criticizing, they will also tell their reasons, and some of the changes will be also suggested which can be accepted. And in this stage, the bill is moved for final approval. Now, bill as a whole is finally discussed and put to vote. If majority of the MPs are in its favor, the bill will be passed. For example, if there is 500 members present in the house and 251 members are in favor and 249 are against, the bill is said to have been passed by a simple majority. Now, if it is passed by one house, it will be sent to the other house, and the same procedure will be there in that house also. Now, when both the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha pass the bill, it will be sent to the president for his or her signature. The various processes of law making. So you can see the 4 process. The first is first reading, second is second reading, third is third reading, and fourth is the bill is passed by the president. President will approve the bill. Now, when we talk about money bill, any bill relating to income and expenditure is called a money bill, and it is introduced in the Lok Sabha. It cannot be introduced in Rajya Sabha. When it is passed in Lok Sabha, it is sent to the Rajya Sabha. So like this, there is a special procedure. Now, a money bill cannot be introduced without the consent of the President of India. And when it is passed in Lok Sabha, it is sent to the Rajya Sabha for recommendation, and it is mandatory for the Rajya Sabha to return the bill with its recommendation within 14 days from the date of receipt. And if they are not doing so, the bill is considered to be passed by both the houses. And after that, the bill will be sent to the president for his or her assent. And after that, whether a bill is money bill or not is decided by the Speaker of the Lok Sabha. We have amendment of constitution. So we have already studied that parliament can amend the constitution. So bill to amend or make changes in constitution requires special majority in parliament. Actually, to make changes in the constitution, a 2/3 majority of parliament is necessary. Now, according to our constitution, there should be no arbitrary exercise of power in independent India. So, as per the law, all persons in independent India are equal before the law, and the law cannot discriminate between persons on the basis of their religion, caste, or gender. And like this, in the same way, all the laws will apply equally to all citizens of country. No one is above the law. Now, the parliament makes laws according to the needs and demands of the people. So, if you see, the role of citizens is crucial in helping the parliament in framing different concerns of the people into law. And at every stage of the legislative procedure, the voice of the citizens is crucial element. As you know, the common people are having the supreme power in democracy. Now we will discuss about laws and dissent. Sometimes what happens, the parliament passes the law and that become very unpopular. It is possible that the law is constitutionally valid or legal, but it can be unpopular and unacceptable to the people. Why it is so? It is because the people think that the intention behind the law is unfair and harmful. And like this, people begin to criticize the law, hold public meetings, write articles in the newspapers, report to TV news channels, etc. And sometimes people even approach to the court. Now here you can see the court has the power to modify or cancel a law if it finds that law is not in accordance with the constitution. In that situation, there is a pressure on parliament to change the law. Here we have a case study of the salt satyagraha. So the civil disobedience movement began with breaking of the salt law by Gandhiji. So what was the salt law? According to the salt law, making of salt was the monopoly of the government, and this law prevented Indians from making salt from seawater without the government's permission. Now Gandhiji protested the law with the famous Dandi March, which took place on 12th March 1930. So on 12th March 1930, Gandhiji and 78 other members of Sabarmati Ashram in Ahmedabad started a march towards Dandi. Now Dandi is a coastal village in Gujarat, and this march was to break the salt law. They reached the sea coast on 6th April 1930 and they broke the salt law the same day by making some salt from the seawater. Now, according to the salt law, it was an illegal action. The breaking of salt law by Gandhiji was followed by similar actions in different parts of countries. And this became very effective movement in the coastal areas of Puri, Cuttack, Balasore in Odisha. So you can see how the protest was done in salt satyagraha. Now we have anti-hawking law. So according to this anti-hawking law, hawking and street vending were made illegal. So why this was done? This was basically done so that streets or other public spaces should be kept free and open so that people can walk on the pavements easily. But we should also keep the fact in mind that hawkers and vendors provide essential services cheaply and efficiently to millions. And this is the means of livelihood. So you can see this law favors one group, but it disregards the other groups. So this law becomes controversial. Hope you all understood all the topics taught in this video. Thank you.